Hello, Ludi. How are you?
Hello, good afternoon, Chris. Very good. How are you?
Great. Thanks and welcome to the first edition of the Digital Nomads podcast, the modern executives and entrepreneurs. So, episode one. And yeah, you're our first, and delighted to have you with us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Fantastic. So, Ludi, we have the way we do this is before we get anywhere is we're breaking the ice. And I know it's late. You're in Bali right now. We're
Indeed.
mid-afternoon here. So my question is, what are you drinking to keep you up or keep you going at this time of night and today?
Yeah, because it has been a long day. I'm a super early riser, so I'm basically just having a basic tea, which would be just some ginger, lime, and honey. Just making sure I'm gonna have a sweet night and be able to wake up tomorrow morning as early as I'm used to.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Great. I think I'm gonna just stick to my white tea, which is being made as we speak, because I'm always running and rushing last minute. So so anyway, you're in Bali, and I think the best way to introduce you is have you, I guess, introduce yourself briefly before we then go into a little bit about yourself. So during the breaking the ice, we've got the introduction. Please introduce yourself. We've covered what you're drinking. So a little bit of background, childhood dreams, where you're from, career paths, and why you became a digital nomad executives. Then we'll go on to leisure, any hobbies and leisure activities that allow you to find yourself or recalibrate. And then family life, what does it look like? So that's to kick it off. How does that sound to you?
Perfect. Let's do it.
All right, let's go. So, background, let's go.
Yeah, so childhood dream, that's a good one. It's a long time ago, as years are floating. So as a kid, as far as I remember, I wanted to become a surgeon, which didn't actually match with my craving of traveling, because as you know, I mean, as we all know, medicine, it's a long journey, so I very quickly decided that's not going to be my path because the most important for me was just going out there, being able to fly around, discovering new cultures, chatting to people. So I basically ended up studying translation, which has nothing to do with any of those. Knowing exactly that this is not something I would pursue because yeah, just finding myself just behind a computer and not being able to actually engage with people is not something I was looking forward to, but it was giving me actually an opportunity to learn more languages and actually bother more people. This is how I see it. So
Okay,
um,
so your love for traveling, where does it come from? Actually, having traveled with your family, are you there? Hey, Ludi,
yes,
you still there?
can you hear me?
Oh,
I can
so
see you. I
yes,
can hear
so
you.
question. Yes, I can
Yes.
now. Perfect. So it was, I think we just had a brief micro there. So the question was, your passion for traveling, is it because your parents traveled with you? Did you go often on exotic holidays, or how did that just come about?
Yeah, I think so. I think like every now and then we'll just hit the roads, either with the car or just trying to travel around. I think it's just the matter of yeah, just being more yeah, discovering new cultures, seeing what's out there.
Okay, all right. Fair enough. And so your studies, so languages wasn't really your thing, or how did that evolve and change?
I mean, don't get me wrong, it was interesting. I ended up choosing as language C Arabic, which, don't get me wrong, it was super, super hard, something I would love to keep up again at some point. I didn't have the chance
Okay.
because I was supposed back in the days to spend some time in the Lebanon and in the politic situation there were not the best, so they decided to start to make the exchange happen. But you have to picture that Barcelona in 2015, and Barcelona was actually becoming a tech hub for Europe. So I
Yeah.
actually took the advantage of all the languages I was speaking at that time. How can I implement that, and how can I find myself within the tech words, knowing that I was doing
Oh, wow.
translation, nothing to do with tech, but at the same time, all right, I love being out there. I know how to chat with people, so let's give it a go. So I had a chance to actually get an interview with SAP, so massive company within the tech industry. And
Okay.
I actually remember the day that I was chatting to the manager. It was like, but you don't have a master, you don't have any commercial studies whatsoever. It was like, "Yeah, but I know how to chat to people, and I can actually make people buy whatever they have to, whatever they should."
They need.
And I
Yeah.
basically said to him that I can actually cover a lot of market for you. I can be really good at that. So something which is hard to learn is like languages from one to another one, or whether if you show me how everything is working, all the commercial sides, just let's give it a try. I know the laws in Spain. You've got 3 months to test me. If you don't like me, if I don't like the company, either way, we can just decide to part ways. But why we shouldn't give it a try? So I was basically within the team, the first employee at getting into the company without having any commercial background. Any university that was actually linked
Amazing.
to business, and I did great. Stayed there for 2 years. I had the best numbers from the companies, so it was actually quite successful. And I was the one that decided to go after 2 years, because I was like, all right, guys, thank you for the opportunity. And I was actually being called by someone I used to know that, hey, Ludi, we actually have the Swedish company that they are looking at opening a new market, which in that case was Iberia, so Spain and Portugal. And we think you actually are the right person, because we need someone with SAP background. It's like, all right, so let's give it a go. But this is where I had the first opportunity where, all right, we do have this market to open. Show us what you've got. So did that,
Okay.
spent I think it was 1 year and a half. Then again, it was a really, really, I cannot say that, proactive market. It was really easy to find job at that time, because having the business side and also the languages, like, all right, yeah, we can use her in different ways. So I ended up jumping in different companies, even going through some staffing agencies. But for me, it
Yeah.
was really important to stick within the SaaS industry, because I knew from the start
Okay.
that this is something that will actually boom, and it's actually something that's going to last. So ended up, my last opportunity in Barcelona was in between 2018 2019, before moving to Australia, where basically I had the chance to work for a startup, which was an amazing opportunity for me, because obviously being a startup, fast-paced environment, is like you don't have just your job descriptions. Like, all right, what can you do? You've got your numbers, there's numbers to reach, show us what you've got. So great opportunity, met friends there, that people that are actually still catching up with. Unfortunately, the startup didn't survive. It was a Catalan
Okay.
startup, marketing related, but massive opportunity. And I think after that, it was a good timing to say, all right, so I know about our market in Europe. I've been working a bit with the American market, but what's actually out there? What's in Australia? It's something which is actually the other side of the words. And for me, as
Yeah.
much as English was a language I used to speak every day at work, I was like, all right, I think this is a good time to put myself out there. Why Australia? Because it's warm there, there's waves. I like to surf, so it was something super important for me. And I just wanted to see what actually a koala and kangaroo were looking like in real life, I guess. So, picture 2019, I decided to move to Australia. And then, as you know, 2020, this was the year of COVID hit us. So, it was
Yeah.
interesting years being out there, looking for a job, because even though I came with a working holiday visa, for me the aim was not to actually go into farms. Nothing against the farms, I think it's an amazing opportunity, but I really wanted to actually prove myself that I can get uh, get into that market and actually, learn some just new skills and see how are they doing things there.
Okay.
Um, and then had the
So
opportunity to actually work. Sorry, yeah, Chris.
So no, no. So I was going to ask, how different did you find everything in Australia? Because obviously we have this perception. Well, it's Crocodile Dundee out in Aussie. It's the outback, and a very strong accent, and and people just walk around at Bondi Beach and places and surf, and that's all that happens in Australia. Oh, and tiny houses, which I think we'll talk about later. But
In
yeah, I
tiny
think
house. I
that's
mean,
that's the
it's
perception we have.
actually
So how
it's
was it?
actually everything you described, just a little bit more than that, I would say. Obviously, Australia is a massive continent, so you would have most of the people living in the biggest cities. So I had the opportunity to live in Sydney, live in Brisbane, and live in Melbourne. So it is all of them within the East Coast. Didn't have the opportunity to go into Perth and WA because it was
Okay.
closed during COVID. Um, but what I found, which was interesting from a business perspective, is that I thought Australia, I mean the APAC market, which is mostly Japan, Australia and New Zealand, would be really similar to the European market in terms of how far are they within the discovery, within the needs, as much as we would say that the US, which are further than Europe. But what I discovered is that actually Australia and New Zealand were quite the new markets. So it was a massive opportunity for me because coming from Europe with such a skills and tools, things that I know that I've been trying within this market that didn't work, I could actually come and try them on this market. So and I think that's what actually made me you know a good candidate for the role I ended up doing as a strategic partner manager at deputy for the region for APAC, is because I was coming also with this, open mindset, but also as an outsider and say, hey guys, look, we've been doing that. Let's give it a try. And that's why, yeah, as I said, it made me that someone was actually really valuable for the company at that time.
Right. So really, really interesting and discovering new markets. So I mean, that's a good thing to know, I guess, especially from a digital nomad's perspective, because then that means, hang on a minute, like everyone's, I think you and I, that's how we met, on the forums on Facebook, etc. And it's always the same questions, how do I become a digital nomad? Where do I get the work? How do I transition from a 9 to 5 job
Mm,
where I've got safety, security, and all I want is actually just flip-flops, sand, feet in the sand, kind of scenario, without actually giving it
mm,
much more thought. But it's also daunting because you leave your safety of employment. Now you got to find your own way. Literally, you sort of have to become an entrepreneur, or a freelancer. I think most of the people transition through freelancing, and then make their way, and navigate their way around entrepreneurship, and things like that. Well, there's also remote workers too, but they don't count,
mm,
I think. I don't think.
mm.
Um,
It's a bit,
but
yeah,
yeah, so that's
different.
interesting because also you've got then the culture in Bali, Thailand, etc. So you're in this is paradise for digital nomads, but in terms of, I guess, work opportunities and things like that, how what do you feel between the APAC versus so Australia, New Zealand, Japan versus Bali, Thailand, yeah, sort of Southwest Asia, I guess. If that makes sense. Did you find is there a big difference in opportunities and the way
Yes.
things work?
I mean, I guess so. I think mostly it's just the culture, right? It's the way we do business. And something I
Mm.
learned, and something, for instance, super interesting is so at the startup I was in Barcelona, I actually asked to touch base on Middle East because I think that was super interesting. Um, and because obviously speaking French as well, and I've been studying Arabic, at least knowing a bit of the culture, but the way they do business, for instance, as much as for us, we would say, from a Western mind, a starting point and an end point, and then you would go into through stages. This is something we have in our CRM, actually, discovery, and you go this and that. And actually, within the Middle East, you don't do business this way. You just cycle. So as much as you think you're on discovery, maybe you're actually closing the deal. And as much as you will be closing the deal, maybe you need to go back to discovery. So it's more, you do business more, you need to trust the person first. They would actually invite you at home first, before signing a deal, something you would definitely not do within the Western world. So that's for Middle East. But for South Asia, I haven't had the opportunity to actually, dig a deeper in there. But I guess you would need language, massive barrier, but also like culture wise, need to spend some time in the country.
All right. So deep dive. Okay. Deep dive. This is where we're going to go into what does a typical day look like, okay, for you. Um, and then favorite places to visit. What's your nomad lifestyle cadence, travel frequency and duration, ideal accommodations for different destinations, and preferred workspaces, restaurants, etc. Where to stay, basically where to stay, where to work, where to eat and play. So let's get into it. Let's get into the digital nomad life and cadence.
So I guess on my end, because I'm a bit of interesting character, I would say. So as much as I'm a techie person, I've been working in tech and SaaS for almost a decade. Jesus. But then I'm also a yoga teacher, which something I'm actually really happy about and proud is like how, I like blending both, because why? But I think we need more mindfulness within the workspace, especially being a digital nomad. When you're far away from your coworkers, you're far away from family, it can be really, really hard. So this is something we're going to touch base in terms of the downsides. But a day, it's gonna be looking like, firstly, doing something for myself, having my little routine, which for me would be, there is no way I'm gonna skip that, because peace of mind is super important for me. It would be so starting my day, waking up. If I can before the sunrise, that's the best time when you could, especially here because it's getting super hot very quickly. So during my my yoga, meditation, my breath work, doing my journaling, which is super important, never skip that. And then it's only after that I'm actually gonna start touching my phone, because obviously being a digital nomad means we do have obviously working maybe different times, and we do have family and friends all around the world. So it's really easy being drawn by your phone. You just see all these messages, emails, Instagram. So I don't touch my phone until, I would say, my 7 a.m. my time. And this is where I'm gonna, sit, have a look, obviously, at what's on the calendar for the day, going through the emails, and then start my day. And obviously squeeze a little surf session in the middle. So that's also something that's really important for me. So when it's good enough, I would put my out of office and being off for maybe a couple of hours and then coming back. But yeah, so
Or a
I
couple
think
of
it's
hours.
again really important. Yeah, it's really easy. Just take the scooter here, put the balls just next to you. Just go. That's a good thing here. You don't need a wetty. You just go with your bikini inside the water. It's really hot. You come back, shower, and then back to work.
To work. Okay. Wow. I think that I'm idealizing, I'm picturing it. Not that I'm a surfer, but the convenience of not having to change or anything, just jump on a scooter and then nip down. I would have expected you to actually have a little peak deck and bungalow right on the water. So it's literally, all right, 7 o'clock. Let me have a look at my phone. Um, check the capital. Oh, well, that meeting's not really important. I'm going to say them we've got problems with internet, and then go and
I
dive
heard
into.
that
I
from
I can
someone.
yeah.
I heard that from someone.
So
That's not something in some issue in South Africa or something like that. I mean, the
yeah.
internet in Australia is really bad as well. I'm finding there's better internet here in Bali than in Australia. So
Mhm.
yes.
All right. So working tools. But I guess that I think we were discussing about the fact that, electricity and internet are very, very good excuses for digital nomads to literally escape, a meeting that they don't want to. We have someone, we do a lot of remote work with teams all over, and we've got a young lady who's in South Africa, and I love teasing her whenever it's like, oh, I've got a that because it's scheduled in South Africa, so they let you know when and etc.
Mm.
At some point, I just said, like, hang on a minute, like, there's a schedule. Can you send us your schedule? Because I'm finding it's a it's a little bit too off. So, and for having done it myself in Zimbabwe, because my cadence takes me to Zim. Okay, I don't do it very often because most of the time, I do enjoy going into meetings, but that element of like, what, today there's no power, no electricity, no water. You let everyone know, and then you switch everything off and just like take some time off. I think but yeah, I know some people
That's
who use that a
wonderful.
bit more often as an excuse than anything else.
Indeed, indeed. No, but I do try to organize my day. That my early mornings, I always say that, like, so before 7 a.m. my time is super important, starting my day for myself. And then that's the thing with the meetings, right? People, they think because, working remotely, meetings are super important. But I'm a fair believer in, if there's no agenda, there's no meeting. You have nothing to chat about.
100%. I often find it's just an excuse to get together, and just, and more often than not, it's just talking for the sake of talking. I'm okay
Mm,
to schedule the meeting, get on. Do we have something to discuss? Yes, no. If it's no, get on
yeah.
with the day. If it's yes, all right, what's the issues that might have come up, etc. So rather flexible. Tuesdays and Thursdays for me, I don't take any
Mm,
calls because when you're in a meeting, you're not doing work from my perspective, and that's how I see it. So, but these
absolutely.
are the things that I guess we figure out as we go along. And I think we realize that even more so when you're a digital nomad, because you have to really be organized because you're traveling, you're moving around, you're having to deal with ad hoc situations like, well, there's no electricity. Well, does 4G work? Can I make a plan? Can I get,
Absolutely.
so you really need to be organized. So yeah,
You do. And then getting some tools as well, just not naming. I mean, I'm gonna name two because then there's no, highlighting one, but Asana, Monday.com. You need that. You need to get organized. I also, use them for personal stuff. Because
okay,
that's the thing as well. When you're super proactive person, organize things, you also organize your life this way. So I even have an Asana for, my daily stuff. What's on my list? What do you have
okay.
to focus on today with deadline for myself?
Yeah, okay, awesome. So in terms of, you're in Bali, whereabouts are you in Bali, and what's the life like for you there? Favorite places? Are there specific things to do, etc.? So give us a little rundown of your favorite spots of where you are right now, and then we'll also find out your favorite places in the world and the recommendations. This is free advertising for people that you enjoyed hanging out with, I guess.
Yes, I guess so. So yeah, I'm on a small island next to Bali, which is like half an hour by boat. There's not much to do depending on what you're into. That's the thing. When I've got friends coming around, even the aim was to, you know, because I'm a very social person. I am really lucky to have many friends, a really good friend that, like they became family. Choosing family is beautiful. But I was like, all right, guys, after Australia, I think I need some time just to, be someone. I think an island, it's a good spot. Still have, lucky me, people coming around. So it just depends what's you're into. If you're not someone who is actually, uh, just like being in the ocean, maybe it can get a bit boring here. So mostly, as I said, it's just spending time in the ocean, whether it's surfing or free diving or just going for a swim or just like chill on the beach, reading a book. Sunrise and sunsets. It can sound very cheesy, but I love my sunsets. That's something also. Make sure if it's not cloudy or not raining, going there. So yeah, I spend a lot of time on my own. I love these not as you would call proper skate park, but like brand new park side. So I actually start skating a few weeks ago. Just being outdoor, I guess so.
Okay. So is there any basic infrastructure? I mean, like we're talking about restaurants, social, small social. I mean, I'm guessing it is a small island with not much to do apart from, I'm sure you've got like what we call les paillotes on the beaches or little center village or town. What's that like?
Yes, so a lot of temples, right? Like, don't forget you're
Ah, of course.
in Indonesia. So I actually am super lucky. I just live just behind a massive one, which is a massive tree, super super old tree. No one is able to tell us how old it is this tree, but it's majestic. It's beautiful. And then yes, so you would have a mix of a bit of Western foods, I would say, and then you've got this bungalow, um, on the sand, like something which is like payot or chiringuitos, I would say, like in Spanish. But what I like the most is when I travel, and that's why I tend to stay, more than 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. Is like to live like a local, even if I will never be a local, but at least try to, in the sense of um, where I'm staying, I'm really lucky, and they actually invite us to being part of ceremonies, and you just search some information online. I do eat a lot local, which is super cheap. I love my nasi campur, which is basically rice and then a lot of sides, which is super healthy if you think about it, and just super cheap. So yes, and but
Mm.
then there's actually a French bakery, which is really good as well. If you fancy something
What?
a bit more, yeah, it's actually true. Uh,
Wow.
on the island, there's yeah, a place with the two pork ribs. So you can find a few things. Pizza, which is like nothing compared to Italy, but yeah, you can find
But
some stuff.
someone's trying. Someone's trying, at least for any
Yeah.
Italian who's there who's really homesick. Look, it's not a
I would
la
never
pizza
bring an
della
Italian
mamma.
friend to those places. No, absolutely not. No, it's a massive no.
So how about the French bread? So you've got two French bakeries. Is it run by French people? Is it really like I would
Indeed.
find in France?
Yes, you would have croissant, pain au chocolat, baguette. It's really, really good. Really,
Okay.
really good.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So cadence. So that's for where you are right now. Um, favorite spot in the world? Go for it. Anywhere. It can be anywhere where you say like, if you have an occasion to go there, put it on the bucket list because it's worth it. Where I could, let's call it on a cadence of a 3 month, stint somewhere as a digital nomad. Where would that be?
Right here for me, because it has everything I need to be happy in life. But if not, I think I would say Mexico, which is next destination after Europe in summer. Because
Okay.
again, the food, right? Have you been to Mexico?
Not yet. That's in the plans. I've got a very, very good friend of mine who's just moved from France to the Yucatan near Merida. Yeah, in the Yucatan region, he bought some land there, had himself built a house, and he keeps calling me and saying like, "Oh my God, the opportunity in Mexico is amazing. When are you coming? Let's do business together. Let's, you know, build amazing eco homes, etc." So I'm trying to
Good place
resist,
to
but
be.
I'm going to I think I'm going to have to go there, but I think it'll have to be towards the end of the year, because I think our we've got quite a few exciting things happening between now and then. So anyway, so Mexico, all right, and Mexico
Yes.
as in Mexico City, or is there
So
somewhere?
I've been only lucky enough to being in Mexico City, which I'm planning on spending a month there because I do have really good friends there, and I think there's a lot of things happening. Also, I'm missing, the some kind, concerts, festivals, arts, something that's a bit missing. where I am. So
A
I think
more
that
vibrant
blending a bit,
cultural scene.
yes, just something a bit different. But I'm actually looking forward to go to Puerto Escondido because it's gonna be similar, which you're gonna find again the ocean. You're gonna find also, like the surf side of it, and I guess if you add on top Mexican food, it just for
Okay.
me sounds like a perfect place to be.
Okay. So next question is work and recommendations in terms of what is your kit? What do you have on you? What are your essentials as a digital nomad?
So as per items, or
As per items, what are the things that you cannot live without for work, for example?
so obviously the laptop, I've got this how do you, laptop stand, which is super important,
Okay.
just to, because obviously you cannot expect having like a proper office chair. I'm actually like I've got a super super hard chair, but I put like as a bit of an old lady little cushion. So you try to
Okay.
find ways. I mean, the absolutely no, it's just like working on your bed because you're gonna end up like this, really really bad. So I think it's I'm fine with one screen. I know I've got some friends that do have, this double screen, which is really handy. That's super important. Obviously, got a good phone, big one,
Okay.
because if I'm on the go, good to check some stuff. Extended battery, super important. And I guess that's it. I do travel really light, super important.
Okay.
I'm a happy
Sounds good.
owner of just a suitcase and a duffel bag. That's it. And
I,
something I
I think
cannot live without, it's a portable blender. Don't get me wrong. This is super, super important. And if you don't have one, don't getting one
uh,
because it's really good. You can make a lot of things. You can, soup, smoothie. I do my cacao in the morning. It's really nice.
okay. So that was also that's a good point. Important things to pack in the bag. So I know that's, you know, what people need to also understand that sensation of owning very little because you don't need much. So it's one suitcase, one carry-on, and a rucksack laptop bag. Literally, that's your worldly possession. And I don't know if you feel like that, but for us, my wife and I are digital nomads, but for us, it's so stressless. The fact that, I don't have things to worry about. It's like, all right, we're leaving in 3 weeks time, we're going to XY. Okay, before it was like, oh my god, we got to pack this and not forget that. So we've got our staples. So so you've got your blender. For us it's my Bialetti coffee maker,
Okay,
um 3 knives, kitchen knives, because I'm also a chef. So I have to travel
that's a good one.
with my knives
Mm.
because and then a potato peeler has traveled with us, and a garlic press. Press
Okay,
is a really
interesting.
good
You're
one.
definitely a chef, yeah.
So those are my staple, and those cushions here that you travel with when
Yes,
you
yes. Have one as
and
well, yeah.
otherwise, yeah, very little, possessions, and then yeah, laptop.
Earplugs, mask.
Earplugs. So my wife has the earplugs, because I'm the one who snores. Uh, so that's important. Um, and okay, so internet wise, how do you work that out? Because I know some people travel, and we're thinking about that with a Starlink, the mobile version, where you can pack it away. It's got its own
Mm.
case, so you can. So how do you find internet in Bali? Do you have to toggle Wi-Fi? Do you have to use 4G, 5G? How do you get by?
It's pretty good. For me, it was super important when I was checking for long-term accommodation. It's like, all right, this was the thing. Look, I love the accommodation, but I need to try one night and properly working, having meetings. If this is working properly, that's a massive yes. So internet is really good here. I know obviously it depends on the homestay. So but I guess the more digital nomads are actually, traveling, the more we're actually, leaving reviews and saying, hey, internet is really good, internet is not so good. I even think on booking.com you can, this is one of the questions nowadays. And yet sometimes I do have to switch to 4G, 5G, but this it's not really often. It was worse, as I said, in Australia, and I was not living in the middle of the woods. When I was going to the middle of the wood, I would not take any laptop, anything. But even being in Byron Bay, for instance, it was just a bit windy. It's like, all right, no internet.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Sorry, excuse me for that. Okay, so accommodation. How do you find your accommodation? Are you doing Airbnb or do you have a special hack for finding your, I guess because we're midterm rentals, because you're spending more than one
Mm.
month in any given place. So what's your hack for finding accommodation?
So I love Google. So and actually, it goes for accommodation. It goes for food. I put like anything on Google. So I would go somewhere, putting accommodation, and then having a look at the reviews. The more reviews, the better. And then
Mhm.
if I'm here, so what I would do, so this is what I did this time when I came back on the island. I booked something knowing that this is not going to be the place I'm going to stay for 6 months, but I knew the area was something I was actually interested in. And then just walking around, looking, and found this place. And obviously, we know that, and with all due respect, booking.com or Airbnb, they would take, a percentage that you have a fee. So I would directly go to the person and ask, look, this is the situation, this is who I am, introduction. I'm looking for a place for 6 months' time and offering, paying in advance month by month. Um,
Okay.
and this is something that has been working with this place. I tend also to look at places that are homestay, but with the minimum rooms. In instance, there, so you can see behind me, massive rooms with own bathroom. There are only 3 rooms where I am, so it's really really quiet.
Okay.
Um, and then what I would also tend to not go for our swimming pool, because swimming pool mean kids and kids mean noise. So that's something, another trick as well. Um,
Is- that's a very, very good one. That's a very good. So I guess yeah, we've never given it. So I guess we're a couple, so we've always struggled to find accommodation in co-living spaces and etc. So we found that Airbnb has been more
yes.
times than not the ideal solution. Also, we've run into so many problems, and if it hadn't been for Airbnb, we would have been losing a lot of money and the scamming and so on and so forth. I mean, we were in Valencia trying to go using Idealista, and it was like a nightmare.
Mm,
And also the conditions, 4 months rent up front, 5 months rent up front, plus 2 months deposit, plus a kidney, and your wife's left left the ear. It was just like
that's
ridiculous, and
crazy.
we
Yeah.
didn't understand why. And also some places look nice on photos, and then you get there and it's a disaster. So for that, Airbnb has been, yeah, slightly more
Mm.
expensive, but it's been a lifesaver for us. So, you know,
Yes, I think the
and
best is always, rent something for a few days and then go check yourself.
so the thing is that can be quite tricky, especially here. So we're in
Mm,
Spain, because when you book it for a few days, you want longer term, but then it's blocked out. So that was the problem we ran into
yes.
also with Airbnb,
Mm,
is because it's short term. You got 3 days here that have been booked, 3 days next month, so you can't have it for the entire month. So
oh, yeah.
I guess we it would be great to have a solution. So there's a couple of new platforms that are catering for digital nomads, but it's nowhere close to where it should be. So hopefully, with a
Yes.
couple of connections, we'll be able to solve that problem.
Also, and I know that's something like if you're lucky enough to own a place, you can do a home exchange. I know this is something that you've got some
Mhm.
groups on Facebook where, hey, look, offering my place in exchange of your place, and people are actually, looking at longer term. So that could be an option, but you need to own something, which is not the case of
Yeah,
everyone.
most. I guess a lot of people will actually, either sell everything they've got and then go off and onto,
Yes,
and it will cover the costs, I guess. But then, yes, it's always a tricky one with, the exchanges or even renting it out while you're traveling because you just never know in advance. And I like the fact that you can rate whoever's been staying in your place as well, how they've left the place. That's
indeed.
also a really, really, really good way because we used to manage a little bit of property in terms of short-term rental, and we've come across some crazy things in the past. But anyway,
Mm.
cool. So, um, otherwise, in terms of your activity, so I know you're doing consulting as a digital nomad as well as hosting retreats, if I
I
remember
do
correctly.
indeed. Yes.
All right, so can we talk about that? Especially the retreats, and then obviously the consulting as well. You never know. So yeah, the retreats. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so as much as you were mentioning that there's not really option for accommodation renting long term for digital nomad, I found the same thing for you want to go on a retreat, which is yoga, mindfulness, for instance. What I've been seeing on the market, or at least in Indonesia, in Bali, it was all right. So you can go for 7 days, 2 weeks, a month, but you need to take some time off. And why we wouldn't be able to blame that? How we cannot actually bring mindfulness slash yoga, and also the networking part, because as digital nomad, one of the things that you can find out along the way is you can feel a bit alone, and then if you're staying, especially for long term, you may meet people, but then especially being on an island is that, oh cool, yeah, they just hang out, and then but actually I'm gonna leave in 2 days because people actually traveling. It's not the same traveling and being a digital nomad. So having a place where actually you would have food included, you would have, don't worry about your food, your activities, a good place to call home sweet home, having good internet, putting all that together, because the time you spend. So when I moved somewhere where, so Ludi wanted to go for surf, Ludi wanted to go for a yoga, looking at all the yoga studio, the cost, and then renting a bag, and then looking for an accommodation with good Wi-Fi. It's really time consuming. And I know people that came to me and say, oh my gosh, Ludi, I would love to do what you're doing, but just like I can't. It's just like too much information. So I'm like, all right, since I do have both sides, I am a digital nomad and I'm also a yoga teacher, why not trying to blend that together? And I had the opportunity, actually, I'm co-organizing this with a very good friend of mine. She's from Bali. She's actually from her roots. And she's an amazing yoga teacher. And we decided actually to, bring our words together and creating this retreat.
Amazing. So when
Mm.
when is the retreat starting? What's the format? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so first I wanted to look at one month, and then I found out asking with some friend to some friends like, oh, all right, so let's try with 2 weeks, see how we go with that. So imagine, so 2 weeks you are North Ubud, so half an hour, which because Ubud became really really busy. If people you've been there, just it's crowded as you go to a yoga class, and then you got all this so much traffic, you just tenser than you came to your yoga class. So
Okay.
it's a half an hour, which is like beautiful amidst the rice field. You've got the monk agung, so it's a really really peaceful place. There's no traffic out there, and then the day would look like, obviously, the retreat is, we make that for the people. So you do have an agenda, you do have things to do, but we always offer a class early in the morning, so yoga class also in the evening to cool off. So brekkie, lunch, dinner, fruits and snacks along the day. So Monday to Friday, then having some activity if you wish, but also including during the weekend. Doing all the you know going on a little rodeo and discover, actually, what's around. It was super important as well. As much as I love traveling like a local is offering experience also from a local, which is my friend and her husband, to digital nomad. So nothing too fancy, nothing that you can expect, Instagram things or whatsoever. That's not what we are looking into. But also like connect, um, mindful people. Because what I would love to see after 2 weeks is that people that they get really along together and maybe come, with a business idea. I think that would be fantastic.
Okay. Awesome. So that's really really interesting to to have the mindfulness and having something that's not in the, I guess, the bustle of where everyone else is. So that's a great concept. So definitely, if anybody's listening in and tuned in, please, I don't know, Ludi, if you've got a website or a place where people can find more information about it. We'll
Absolutely.
definitely be sharing the link in the comments later on. Okay. And then, so I'm sorry to jump from the cool stuff to the lesser cool stuff, I guess, the consulting, because
It
of
is
your,
cool as
uh,
well. I like my
it is, yeah, I
consulting.
guess. Yeah, but come on,
Yes.
in people's minds, it's like, okay, consulting. Oh my goodness, now we're getting serious into business now. So I guess the consulting. I mean, I'd love to continue discussions, after the podcast about the consulting, because there is a need for it, and I guess your experience over a decade in this SaaS and the tech world is invaluable. So a lot of new startups are popping up, and they need help, guidance, etc. Perspective on different markets and opportunities, because we are global now. So what does that look like?
Yes.
Your consulting services, what are you, specialist or not? Or tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, indeed. So it's really about, how can we, increase your revenue. So it could be, through a commercial slash, sales way, or also what I a fair believer in partnerships, because as I always said, people buy people. That's the best marketing you can have on anything and everything you want to sell. So it's actually, since I do have, lucky enough, a massive network, I'm also able to, all right, so tell me what you're looking to achieve, or who are you? And then I'm like, okay, so I can come actually back with a few names, people I can introduce you to, because actually you are targeting the same person. So why don't you, actually merge forces? This is something I learned also. So my last job at Deputy, and I was really passionate about, is like how you can have, this ecosystem of of softwares. So this thing says like an
Ooh,
ecosystem. So it was like, all right, so you a massive player within, let's say, workforce management platform, which Deputy was doing, but then you need a payroll system. You're not a payroll person, so let's get the payroll, let's get the LMS, learning management software. So all those guys together, because then if you think that you're coming to clients where your full team and say, hey, actually, yes, I can cover this thing, but I've got those guys that we do have an amazing integration together, and we can go all together and actually, answer all your needs. And this is where you actually make a difference on the market. It's not only you, it's how
100%.
are you able to, articulate with more
I
solutions.
I think it's really important. So from our perspective, for us, it's all about the creating digital ecosystems that make sense for a business. So it's always taking, I guess, the best in class, but you've also rightly put it in as people who are coherent to work together. In terms of the offers and the tech stacks, etc., that can combine, provide something that's really exceptional. So I can really resonate to what you're doing.
Mm,
So hopefully we'll be able to also, partner there and get some interesting partnerships and collaborations going there. Um,
absolutely.
Great. So the next part is we're going to find out a couple of fun facts about you. Okay.
Yes.
So the fun facts, I need to find them. So I had them somewhere, and I'm obviously always losing them. All right, let me see. Got them here. Okay. Okay, so bucket list item to tick off in 2024. What is it?
Um, All right, Bucket of 2024. I mean, there's been some, but already actually made
Okay.
them happen. So it was like organizing a retreat, which is it is happening in May. That's a good one. So I'm gonna say three. Um, the second one was to start skating. So I'm into it. Um, Getting there. And then the third was actually also as much as I've been helping, SaaS companies, I had a lot of free time and I've been enjoying helping friends with whatever business they had. So I had like a very good friend in Byron, massage business. So I was like, all right, so how can I help you? So ordering all the Google style, the link tree, and everything. So what I'm looking also as well is, having some side project where I could, because I found myself actually creating a website for the retreat, and I really enjoyed it. So massive opportunity to actually, help small businesses, but are still related to the mindfulness part.
Okay.
So yoga school, mindfulness businesses, massages, whatever, yeah, related to this. So that's something I'm having this conversation right now because they're actually quicker project to start on and
Okay.
finish. So quick wins.
All right. Perfect. So, 10-day yoga retreat or 10-day mastermind retreat? Which is your pick?
Mastermind depend with Rue. I will need to see the panel.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So, mastermind would be with, I guess, influential people like, all right, I'll put Cody Sanchez, Alex Hormozy, and the likes. That would be the sort of
Yes,
panel. So
yes.
yoga retreat or 10-day mastermind with them.
No, 10 day like mastermind because then I can infuse them some mindfulness as well on the way, so I can still mix everything. I would end up doing some yoga session for everyone in the morning, so it would be a
Okay.
mix of both.
Okay. That's cheating. But anyway, I'll give it to you. If you were a startup founder, would you rock a hoodie and sneakers or a suit and tie for an investor meeting? So obviously suit and tie, I'd say tailleur, as we say in French. So formal way.
Yeah,
Which one are you?
I think the sneakers. Yes, I used to actually. Yeah, I love actually combining both. But I would say like definitely the sneakers. Having like a black dress and then having sneakers with people are like looking at you like, what?
Oh,
Why not?
really? That's so.
Yes,
That must be your French side. I mean,
you think so?
if, oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm
You need
very
to be
old
comfy.
school. Come on, no. Like, I guess a pair of Louboutin is comfy, or make it comfy.
Have you tried them?
Well,
I dare
anyway.
you to walk 10
Um,
meters.
I'll we'll have to discuss that another day. All right, cool. So, coffee or tea during those make or break pitch sessions? What kind do you like? So, coffee, what kind of coffee if you like coffee, or what kind of tea if you're a tea person?
Yeah, tea, something, yeah, just lime tea, something. I stopped drinking coffee. I love coffee. I love the taste of it, but it's just not good. It just gives me this anxiety kick. That's a massive no.
Okay.
So tea.
Okay. So, next, comedy club night or TED Talk marathon for a fun evening out? What's your pick to unwind?
TED talk, learn something.
Okay. That works. And then finally, sports. Where would you thrive? As a single competitor, doubles sports, relay team, or team sport?
That's interesting one. I used to play tennis for a long time. So it's a single sport. But I like the team effort. So yeah, team.
Team sport?
Yeah, team
Okay.
sport. Yeah.
And that is a wrap for that one. So, next we have a really, really nice giveaway um, from you because we always do a giveaway at the end of a podcast. And You've been very generous and gracious. So the two giveaways are 30% off Hubertin Retreat. And so in order to win that 30% off, people need to make a comment in the comment section. Those who are live, please make a comment with the hashtag Digital Nomads Podcast. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, there's a ticket that's going past. So the giveaway number one is 30% off Hubertin Retreat. So the retreat that Ludi's organizing with the comment Digital Nomads Podcast. So please make comments and if not, we'll run it. We'll continue this over the next couple of days. So there will be one person who will win that on socials if you mention Digital Nomad Podcast. All right, and we'll see if we've got any comments because we've got a couple of people who are there viewing, but probably a lot of shy people. Let's have a look. All right, shy people. All right. So we'll probably carry this one on. The other uh, the other giveaway is obviously going over into your other activities is a free 1 hour business consultation with the hashtag Lightrise Consulting. Oh, there is a comment. Oh, okay, that's great. Oh, you've got fans, at least one.
Been trying to bring my network.
It's all right. It's all right. So anyway, there is going to be we're going to carry on, promoting the podcast, in the non-live version because it's recorded. So we'll be sharing it across social media. And otherwise, I wanted to know if anyone who's listening in, they've got any questions in regards to Digital Nomad Life, cadence, where to go, any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments, and we'll give you a couple of a minute or two to share whatever questions you may have. And then otherwise, that'll be a wrap, I guess, for our first podcast. And
Amazing.
do we have anything? Raf, you are a legend. We've had Nishant who joined via Twitter, and are the only extroverts, I guess, today we have on the podcast. So yeah. Oh, and I think Raf might know you.
Yes, we used to work together.
Oh, and tell us about that. Okay, so give us a backstory while we wait in case somebody does comment. So how do you know Raf? Where did you work together?
So we worked together at this Swedish company, Snow Software. So
Ah,
it
okay.
was 7 years ago now. Time is flying. So, what about taxes? Got a
Oh,
question. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
yes. So how do you manage that? Because also, I guess that's one of the big questions everyone has is, where are you domiciled for tax purposes? So how does that work?
Yes. So that's an interesting one because I spent 4 years in Australia and now being here. So the thing with taxes is like if you need to be more like over 6 months in the
Mhm.
country. But actually, I do have my consulting company. So Lightrise is actually registered in oh my gosh, Estonia.
Ooh, okay.
I'm
So
one
the
of those.
Estonian digital nomad e-visa, I think
Yes,
they call it. Okay.
yes,
So
exactly. So
so that's where you're tax domiciled, I guess. Well, business is registered there,
indeed.
and that's where you're. Okay. All right. How easy was that process?
So it is easy. So everything is online. It's wonderful. Everything is really meant for digital nomads, legit. And then the only
Mhm.
thing you have to so you receive a little package with car. So that's actually going to be your e-residency. So you have to pick it up from one of the embassy. So in my
Okay.
case, I picked it up in India because it was on the way,
That was
was
the
there.
closest. Okay.
But I know that in Europe there's many places you can pick it up. Um, and they're really reactive. If you do have any questions, it's highly recommend. And I know a lot of people they're actually doing the same, so looks like a good
Okay.
option.
All right. Perfect. For us, though, we're a lot less exciting. We're UK domiciled. It was easy because when we registered our business, it was locked down and it was quick. I mean, the system, it was everything was done online and you can live anywhere. So, we that's
Mm,
how we went about it. So UK domiciled, I guess. But I have been seeing, I think Google's always listening. It just pops up all the time, Estonia e-residency, and it's just like
yes,
blooming at me.
you're
So
one of
I think I'm
us.
gonna have a, so I think I'm gonna
Come to
look
the dark
into,
side.
yeah, I might, not resist that much, too much to the temptation. But I think it's just for the process and actually doing it and just letting people know, hey, by the way, it is a really easy process. Don't worry, it's legit, it's well organized, and it's the future because that's how I think
Dude,
COVID really accelerated this sort of lifestyle. And I had a look at the numbers recently. There are 75 million official digital nomads, so that are officially recorded. So you and I both know that the majority aren't official. It's always like I'm on holiday. I'm not really a digital nomad, but
yeah,
friends and family, yeah, I'm a digital nomad, but on
yeah,
paper, you're just there on holiday for 3 months, etc. So officially 75 million, and that's a hell of a lot of people, and that number is just growing and ballooning. So anyone who's in the space, there's plenty of opportunities as a digital nomad because it's become a way of life, and that's how everyone wants to live. It doesn't remove from the
indeed,
efficiency of work and everything.
the
All right.
dream. How many people
It
are
is.
friends? Lady, how do I become digital nomad? Like, I wish I could answer that. There's a magic trick, but
You just
not
need
really.
to pack your bags and get
And
rid of anything that you don't need.
work your butt
And
off as well. There's things are not coming from a day to another one. I know people that like to see what's happening right now, but you know, like how did you manage actually to get into this where we are today? So, but it's never too late to start. There's massive opportunity out there. Just being proactive, I guess that's the massive thing. Because being a digital nomad, it's being proactive for everything. If you're not
yeah,
proactive, it's not going to work.
yeah, 100% agree. So, it's not a it's possible, but it does require effort, work, and organization and planning. If you've got
Yes,
that, you will not have any issue, and just do it, I guess, and figure it out along the way, like we all do. I mean, it's like life. No, none of us have got it figured out. We just, one day at a time, and figure out the problems of today, and then if there are no problems, well, it's been a good day. And otherwise, you make a plan. That's, I
indeed.
guess
Always
that
have a plan. If you don't have a
always have a
plan,
plan.
yeah,
Make one.
always have
Make a plan.
make a plan. Yeah,
Indeed.
if you don't have a plan, just like I mean,
You have to make
yes,
one. Okay.
yeah.
Ludi, it's been an absolute pleasure spending this
Thank you
hour,
so
over an
much.
hour with you. I'm definitely looking forward to catching up with you face to face when you're here in summer. Briefly, we'll be crossing each other as I'm making my
I
way
will.
to Africa after. I'll wait for you, and then we'll move down to
Ah,
Africa
thank
for our
you.
safari season. And then everyone, what we'll do is we'll be sharing this podcast on socials, and any links related to Ludi's contact details, etc., will be shared as well. Don't hesitate, and we'll see you on social. Otherwise, thank you, Ludi. Good night, because it's night time for you, and
I know.
we'll catch up soon.
Yes. Thank
All
you.
right.
Have a lovely end of
Thanks,
the day
Ludi.
then. Bye.
Likewise. Cheers. Bye bye.